Hi, this video discusses producer surplus, also known as producer welfare, and explains what it is and how you find it graphically, along with coming up with a algebraic expression for the calculation of producer surplus. So producer surplus is simply the difference between the price and the variable cost to make the good. That's what producer surplus is, also known as producer welfare. So a firm gets a benefit every time they make a good. This is the dollar amount or the benefit that we assume firms collect every time they produce a good. And it can be found using the following algebraic expression. Producer surplus is the difference between our total revenue and the variable cost to make the good. It can be seen also on a graph by, if you look at the supply curve or the marginal cost curve of the firm, okay, it's going to be the area above this supply curve or marginal cost and below the market price for that quantity that's produced. And it's also very similar but not the same as profit, because profit definition, if you recall, is total revenue minus variable cost minus fixed cost. Whereas producer surplus is total revenue minus variable cost. So the difference then between the two calculations is fixed cost. There's no fixed cost here for producer surplus, but there is fixed cost here for profit. So since profit subtracts fixed cost, profit's always going to be smaller than producer surplus, which doesn't have that subtraction. Now let's show this on a graph, producer surplus. And here's a firm that has marginal cost of $1 to make the first one, $2 to make the second, $3 to make the third, and $4 to make the fourth one. And the price is $4. So let's calculate the producer surplus for this firm. Well, does it make the first one? Yes, because the price of 4 exceeds the marginal cost of 1. Does it make the second one? Yes, the price of 4 exceeds the marginal cost of 2. Does it make the third one? Yes, the price of 4 exceeds the marginal cost of 3. Does it make the fourth one? Yes, the price of 4 just equals the marginal cost. So they make the item. However, there is no difference between price and MC. They're the same for that fourth one. So there's no producer surplus. But there is a producer surplus when they make that third one. They get $1, that difference between the price and MC. They get $2 to make the second one of producer surplus, and they get a $3 producer surplus to make that first one. So what's our total producer surplus for this firm who makes 4 units and prices at 4? 3 plus 2 plus 1, or a grand total of $6 of producer surplus for this firm. Now, we could also show this without having a stair-step supply curve. More commonly is you either have a line for a market supply curve or you have a curvature. And for a supply curve or MC curve for a market that has this shape, it's going to be the area above the supply curve, above the marginal cost, and below the price. So this area here in green is a producer surplus. Now, typically, you'll see questions, at least from me, that only use lines for the supply curve because it's easier for algebraically to calculate, and it's much simpler, okay? So here's a quick sketch of what might appear on a homework question or a test question. You have this is supposed to be a line. That's our market supply curve or marginal cost curve, okay, which is the same as supply. And then it comes out from 2. And then you have a price for this item. And there's our market price. And this market price, let's call it $10. Okay, that's a $10. And here's our output. Here's our output. Let's say our output's 8. And we want to find where is the producer surplus. Well, the producer surplus is area above the supply curve, marginal cost curve, and below the price. So it's this wedge here, okay? And that wedge, how do you find the area of this triangle? It's going to be 1/2 the base. This base is 8 times the height. Difference between 10 and 2, 8. Just having both of the base and the height were 8. So half of 8 is, of course, 4. 4 times 8 is 32. Now, here's the question. what happens to the producer surplus if prices were to fall? So suppose this price dropped and now the price were, I don't know, let's say $7. So here's the $7 price. You tell me, at this new lower price, what happens to producer surplus? Well, now this is the producer surplus area. Of course, that's smaller triangle. So we have and this one has a height of 5, and then maybe this new area here is 5 as a quantity. So the height is 5, the base is 5, and then multiply that by a half. So now we're talking, what, half of 25, or 12.5 is our new producer surplus. So it shrunk considerably if we had a $3 price reduction. So this is just an example to illustrate the decline in producer surplus, as the next graph also has a similar indication. If the price drops from 30 to 21, at 30, the producer surplus is all three of these areas, D, E, and F. If the price drops to 21, you just get the area F of producer surplus.